hello. Where am I looking over there? Hello, everybody. Welcome to... What is the show called?
What's my name?
Done this
It's all
for
about me.
ages.
It's all about
the James
Princess
Watson
here.
podcast.
James Watson
Yes.
podcast.
Welcome back. First episode of 2026
God, is it?
with James Watson,
Yep.
me, Amanda, and Bert, my bicep.
AKA Minion.
Yeah, and Bert, my bicep that I found this morning.
Please explain about your bicep for anybody watching, because
So
it's quite
I've
funny.
been going to the gym and I've been doing boxing. And this
Before
morning,
2026 started, just going to defend you here and say it's not a new year, new me idea.
Yeah. And I've been doing boxing. And this morning, for some reason, I was like, do I have any muscles yet? And I tensed and I have a bicep and I've called him Bert. But he's only on my right. I don't have a left bicep yet.
You know you've had biceps your whole life, right? Just
Yeah, but
going to clarify this.
I can feel them now. The real letdown
Gonna be
is I called
unbearable.
my fearless leader, the person who's supposed to be really excited for me in all these endeavours, to tell him. And you didn't give me the reaction I wanted.
What reaction would you like at 8 a.m. in the
Oh my
morning from me
God,
that
congratulations,
before
I'm
I
really
tell you
proud
that
of
you
you.
discovered you had the muscle that you were born with? What do you want?
I'm really proud of you. Well done. Let's go out for lunch and celebrate.
It's just renamed today a bank holiday for Bert's bank
Yes,
holiday, right? We'll call
yes.
it for your bicep.
And we'll have another one when Bernie appears.
Shut the country down.
Well, you can probably tell we've not been around for a while because we're talking utter rubbish. But welcome back.
gonna do-
Thank you for joining us again.
40 minutes of nonsense. You're going to learn nothing, but you'll laugh a lot. There you go.
At us, probably not with us.
That's all right.
But welcome back to the James Watson podcast, and we can be found on... It is you, but yes. Where can they find
On
you?
Instagram, that _ James _ Watson. And on TikTok, actually. And LinkedIn and YouTube and whatever else.
Yeah, great.
Great.
I can tell you've not done that for a while either.
Yeah,
It
go to
wasn't too
Instagram,
smooth.
follow and be nice.
There you go. That sums it up. How are you? How's 2026 going?
Good. Great, actually. Really good.
Okay. Anything else to say?
You want me to say about it?
Expand. Do you have any? What's your motto for this year? You've got a motto for this year.
Let's
What is
work
it?
less stress, double results or double income, whatever we want to call it. I don't want to talk about money on the thing, but my goal this year
I thought
year
it was
was
just to have more fun.
have fun, less
Yeah.
less stress. Yeah, have loads of fun, not take it too serious. Don't overstretch myself. Don't be stressed.
Yeah.
But double the results.
Yeah, when I tell you about my bicep, you
And
don't
life.
have much fun with it.
Yeah.
So it's not off to a good start.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. Fun.
Good.
I nearly killed myself trying to do a handstand press up this morning. So
You did. Do you want to tell that story?
We're doing lots of calisthenics.
Yeah.
If I pronounce the word properly, lots of hands.
Aesthetics, I think, isn't it?
Calisthenics. No, I got corrected the other week.
sorry.
It was not calisthenics, actually. It's calisthenics. I'm sure. Could be wrong. Anyway, we're not going to get into this debate. But I've been doing handstand press-ups in the gym, but with my hands on the floor. And then
Yeah.
I bought these bars. I think they're called parallel bars.
Right.
And practicing the name, but I didn't realise it uses a bit of different muscle. At 6:30 this morning, I went and done a handstand on a set of bars and went down like a torpedo in my face.
Oh, dear.
I think my face hit the floor first, and my shoulders second, and then I wish I'd videoed it. I'd really wish I'd caught it because I was just crumpled up in a wee ball against the wall upside down between a bar, and I was really disappointed when I looked up and nobody in the gym had seen my fall because I was fully
Shame.
expecting somebody to laugh at me, and do you know that? You know,
Well, you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
it's hysterical, but it's actually reminded me of the first sales pitch I ever done when I absolutely froze and melted and couldn't get my words out.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, I'm selling shit." And he's like,
Do you want to buy something?
no, I genuinely,
Fluffy
all I could
ducks?
think of was stuff. I say stuff, no shit.
Right.
I'm like, selling stuff? And he's like, no. And I'm like, thanks. And walked out.
Bye-bye.
Honestly, when I fell this morning, that was the flashback I got because I think that's the last time where I failed that miserably at
Stunning.
something. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I don't mind failing. It was quite hysterical. I was glad I never injured myself.
Yeah, it would be also not great if you smashed up your face or had black eye coming in here today either.
That's what I mean, like missing teeth.
Yeah.
Though. it was I'm laughing because I wish I'd had an outer body experience and seen me go down because it must have looked hysterical.
I'm just surprised you didn't
Handstand and
scream.
Folded.
Because you can have a high-pitched scream when you want to. Ah!
I didn't hurt myself though, nothing. Like when I felt nothing hurt. Like,
Well done.
there was no pain. I was just laughing.
Okay.
So, and I got nothing was out of place.
Well, if you had a
belt,
bet,
if I had a
you
belt,
might not have done that.
I don't have belts. I'm like bicepless.
Shame.
So all the pull-ups I do have no arms.
Great. So that's the motto for this year. Less stress, more fun. Be able
More
to do
money.
a handstand and not face plant, and more money.
I can do handstand press-ups. I just doing it that way, and the bars is. I thought it would be the same, but it was the angle was different.
Okay.
So
Well,
probably going to follow a lot more this year.
Come back at the end of 2026 to see if for live
Put it in
demonstration.
the podcast with a live demo
Live demo.
of me.
I'll get Bert and Birdie out and you,
The live
you'll
demo
do a
of me
handstand.
decking it in my face. Like I don't care. I think I don't care about being terrible at something. It makes getting good at it all that more better.
What time?
I don't mind being terrible. You have to be terrible at something to get good at it. So I don't mind falling. It's fine. As I told my daughter roller skating last week when she fell, I says that's part of learning.
That's been
Get
a big
up
part of
and
your 2026
suck
is
it.
roller skating.
I taught my 5-year-old how to roller skate.
Yeah.
I never thought that would be one of the things I did this year.
Is
But
roller skating with like the double wheels or the single wheel?
double wheels, single wheels, blading. That's the same thing, but a little bit different.
Love that.
Blading's like ice skating, I would imagine.
Yeah.
A bit more secure with the 4 wheels.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. Well, that's 2026 summed up so far.
Literally been at roller skating and falling on my face.
Stunning. No work at
So if
all.
I turn up with black eyes and a squint nose the next time, you know why.
Either the roller skating or the handstands.
Yeah,
One of the two.
I'm doing stuff where I could hurt myself.
Stunning. Well, today we'll actually get into it because I don't imagine people are here to talk about my biceps or your face plants.
Yeah, we never know.
So if you are, that is why you're here. I'm sorry to disappoint. We're going to move on now. And I think one thing that I think would be good to talk about, because it probably has been a theme for 2026 for us so far, is adaptability.
Yep.
Being able to pivot, being able to like kind of be light on your feet, I guess.
Yep.
I think we came into the year with a plan of what the first quarter for us was going to look like. Some things happened and it meant that we've had to change a little bit of what we were doing, and our day-to-days changed a little bit to what we expected.
I think we were like, how many weeks? We were like a week in, 2 weeks in.
It was the third week of the year.
My whole game plan went.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that is a very apt thing for us to think about today. I guess embracing change, being able to pivot is the header of the topic,
Yeah.
I would say.
But by embracing, we don't mean like it, because sometimes you've got to change it. You don't have to like change, you just have to accept it. I'm just going to make that clear, because embracing something makes it sound like you like it. Like even the stuff we're doing now, I don't
hug the change.
I don't enjoy it, but it's what needs done, right?
Yeah, I mean, deep down, I'm having a great time. I think I tell you that every day. I'm
One
actually
is
loving it.
One is having a great time.
But what do you think it actually means to embrace change as an entrepreneur then?
Again, I don't think it's embracing. I don't think that's a word I would use as embracing. Just accepting that sometimes you're going to have to change things. Industries change, people change, markets change, rules change. Like I always have a solid plan and strategy with the option of change. There's always an option of change, and I've got to keep that willingness for everything to go belly up tomorrow morning. So just through experience, I know that what things are like tonight might change in an hour. I think the lockdown situation, the COVID situation taught us that more than anything. But the amount of I was very impressed with how well we pivoted and how well a lot of other companies pivoted really quickly, because you've seen the people who were able to pivot, survive, have even thrive and have a good time through it. And you've seen some people who couldn't pivot and go through the change, like fold very quickly. So I think I just accept that life, forget entrepreneurship, I just accept that you don't know what's going to happen later on tonight. And so you have to be open to everything getting flipped upside down at a minute's notice. Even my life, we're not getting to that. We're getting residency for the UAE, and someone asked me the other day, she's like, why do you want it? And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen in my country. I want the ability to get in a plane and move to another country in 2 minutes. well, not literally 2 minutes, but I want to be able to make that decision.
Yeah.
All right, pack, book a flight, let's go. We're leaving for whatever mess is happening right now. I get political, but, you know, the world's quite an you know, quite mental just now, and things just happen, and who knows when something's going to happen. So I'm ready for complete shift straight away. I think part of it's life experience, part of it's entrepreneurship. I learned as a kid to be adaptable, because when you grow up in a bad neighbourhood, you have to be ready to change your plans very quickly or run very fast. So I think being able to go for it. So I don't even think business taught me. I think growing up, and growing up as a kid anywhere, I think you learn.
Yeah.
So,
but I think most people, if you sat down most entrepreneurs and said to them, "Are you an adaptable person?" I think 9 out of 10 of them would say 100% yes, I am.
Of course.
But like, I think when push comes to shove, I think a lot of them probably aren't. How can is there a way you can train yourself to be adaptable? Is there a way you can train yourself to be good with change management or to be able to pivot?
Yeah, I think experience teaches you, and you never actually know how somebody's going to handle change management. You mentioned there is where people struggle. Everybody believes they can deal with everything. We all believe, or for the most part, we all think we're unstoppable, especially somebody who's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
To even stand a chance in entrepreneurship, you have to believe you're capable of anything, because if you don't, you're probably not even get a shot at doing well, regardless of whether you have a shop or whether your goal's to run $1 billion business. I think you've got to have that stupid belief. But when push comes to shove, it's kind of like boxing, right? Everybody believes they'll get in the ring, and it's a guy thing especially. You do too. Now that you're hitting pads, you're like, oh, I can fight. And everybody's got a plan to get punched in the face, but you never know if you can take a punch in the face until you actually get punched in the face. And you might go, that sounds like the worst idea in the world. And it might happen to you. You might go, actually, I like how I have to think about how to move. You get a kick out of it. So you don't really know how to do it. I think going through a process, or at least learning a process that I do with change management. Again, you say embrace, I say accept. I don't embrace change, I just accept that sometimes I'm just going to have to change things. I'm just going to have to accept that either the plan that I controlled was a bad plan, or uncontrollable stuff happened. So we'll go back to when they made us all go home and we couldn't be in the office. You know, I'm like, but you know, I can't do it, and I can't phone up the PM, and I can't phone up Boris and argue. So I didn't like it at all, hated it. In fact, it goes as far as like disgusted by it. But I'm like, I can't do anything about it. So I just have to accept it. And the quicker I wrap my head around it, the less frustrated I'll be, and the better I'll be at adapting into this new situation. Right? A lot of people get into a slump because they get angry and they don't check themselves emotionally with. I just think control, uncontrol. If it's something I could control, I need to learn the lesson. Usually it's a very harsh lesson. It's really painful financially. It's really painful physically. I'm going to have to make some changes. I accept that. I learn the lesson. Once it's a mistake, twice is a choice. I just promise myself I'll never do it again. Yeah. If it's uncontrollable, what am I going to do about it?
Move on.
What am I going to do? And then you set up a backup plan, because you remember after, I'll never get caught, and I think this is an entrepreneurial thing. If I have to pivot, and there's something I could do to make me pivot faster the next time, or to make me accept that better next time, or to stop it from happening, then I'm going to put that in place. Like when we had that face-to-face sales business, and then we couldn't do face-to-face sales, and then I swore, and that was a horrible experience for us, because we had to pivot a lot, and it was painful, and it cost a lot of money, and worked really, really hard to really do nothing apart from pivot and survive. We survived.
Surviving, yeah.
That was it. We survived. We survived. We never thrived. We definitely survived. The pivot, our ability to pivot, allowed us to survive that time in life, or that time in history. But I'll never get caught again, because now I've built 2 online businesses. I'm like, it'll never happen to me again. I'm going to build businesses where if I have to stay in my house for a long period of time, I can still make an income and build a company. So I'm like, that's accepting I couldn't control it, but what could I put in place so that if that happened to me again, that it wouldn't be as painful for me? It'd still be painful, but this time it'd be less pain, because I'm like, all right, let me just switch to that other thing, because I can't do that. So, pain's a good thing though. I think when you have to adapt, it shows your colours. It tells you who you really are. You might think that I'm great with change management and I'm adaptable, and then you realise very quickly that you're not. And there's nothing wrong with that because it shows your weak points, and that just gives you something to work on. But if you watch, I was watching Dragon's Den the other night, and there was a boy on Dragon's Den. They ended up slating the boy because he'd all these millions because he sold all these companies. Because they're like, you should be sitting here. Why are you? He's like, I just want a dragon. I don't need the money. I just want one of you guys to come into business. But he'd built all these different businesses, and they're like, they called him a pure entrepreneur. Like, you're a pure entrepreneur. Like, he just built all these different businesses and sold them, and the businesses were nothing like the last one he sold. And so somebody who's an actual entrepreneur, you look at Jobs, Musk, Bezos, no matter what they get into, they make a success of it. So these guys can pivot on a day-to-day basis, talking about spaceships, then cars, then talk about X, the way Musk can just go between. So I think the purest, the more you can pivot, the purer an entrepreneur you'll be, and the better. And then you have to have confidence that you'll make anything happen. It's not market specific, your success, and it's not industry specific, it's not time specific. It's because of you. You're the reason why something's good.
Yeah. So what do you think the balance is then? Like, let's say I'm an entrepreneur about to go on like this big entrepreneurial journey or whatever, and I've got this company I want to set up, or whatever it may be. I think, yes, you need to have obviously your plan, and yes, you need to think, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Shut my eyes and hope.
Yeah. But I also think, I think when you're making your plan, you have to try kind of do some form of foreshadowing or troubleshoot and think, okay, this could happen, and then if that does happen, I'll do X, Y, and Z. So I think you can, to some extent, plan for different scenarios. But I also think there is situations where unforeseeable things happen. So how important is it to have the plan? So if you're starting on this journey, how important is trying to have that perfect plan, or how important is it to be, okay, I know where I want the end destination to be. Now I just need to adapt to different things to get there.
There's an old saying one of my first coaches used to say, and they say, plan for the best, prepare for the worst. I think an easy way around that, try and hook into or get advice from someone who's done it before. And I see a lot of people when they network with entrepreneurs are like, they ask all these positive questions. What makes things work? What makes you good? I like to ask people what they screwed up. If you could go, I think a good question is, if you could start again, what would you tell yourself before you started? If you know then what you know now, like, what would you not do? What painful lessons did you learn? What mistakes did you make? And so I think in this day and age, with the access we've got to AI and people and courses and coaches online, like you'd like, I mean, if you got the money right, you're like 10 minutes away from having an expert have a conversation and teach you. So I think preparing for the worst is key. You say it's perfect plan. I don't think there's such a thing, because your plan can go belly up in 2 minutes. There's just this more solid plan. Again, I'm planning for the best, but I want to mentally prepare for the worst. So as many things I could come up with through mentorship or just experience that can go wrong, and I can prepare scenarios, like preparing a fire escape for a building because it could go on fire, and your experience has taught you that you should go a certain way and do certain checks and certain things when you can do that. But again, that's the beautiful thing about life and business. There's always got to be ones that's never happened to anybody before. Somebody's got to be the first. Somebody's got to be the first. And sometimes that thing happening, no matter how many mentors I had or how many courses or how much experience, that scenario might be the first time that scenario's happened to somebody, which is now me, because I mentor people in business, and I mentor CEOs and sales leaders and whatever, and sometimes they call me and I'm like, most of the time I'm like, I've experienced that and blah blah blah, and I give them advice. And sometimes they call me and I'm like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know, mate, that's a new one on me, man. Let's go try and find it somewhere else, or let's think it. So yeah, I think there's no such thing as a perfect plan, because you have to be open to change. So nothing's foolproof. It's as foolproof as it can get, but just be ready. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're, sorry, maybe not, we use this analogy a lot, like, can have a perfect scenario going in and, playing a match or getting into a fight, but if my opponent does something that I wasn't expecting, I'm going to have to learn how to pivot. In fact, if you look at the best, when we're talking about pivoting and change, if you look at the best sports teams and best sports people, they'll go in with a game plan, but they'll change their whole game plan the second they think their game plan's not gone according to plan. Floyd Mayweather used to always say he didn't study his opponents because he'd make a perfect plan, but then his opponent could come in and fight a different fight.
I think that's where the saying is like being light on your feet is, like be like ready to at a second's notice to be able to.
Yeah, you have to. And I'm a big boxing fan, as we know. If you watch this or know me, you know that I'm huge into fighting and I use a lot of fighting analogies. But maybe others like, give me a round with somebody and I'll figure out how to win, right? So I
Yeah.
think as an entrepreneur, you play today, win today. Like I'm just always, I'm just waiting for the unexpected. But when the unexpected happens, how you react to it as well. Like I don't get emotional. I actually like it secretly. You always say that you like me when shit happens because it brings the best out.
You get a bit of oomph to you.
Because you have to.
You have a bit of a fuck the world to you as well, which is a good time.
Yeah, because, that I think great entrepreneurs show their value when things go bad.
Yeah.
Great leaders show their value. What's that old saying? Great generals are made in time of war, not peace. Because you never know who's actually that good until shit hits the fan. So sometimes secretly I like it when it does because I'm like, all right, let's see how good I actually am. But that's where your confidence comes from as an entrepreneur. When you're able to pivot and do that stuff, I think that's when you pivot. But like when you're in something that's just going well, it's for entrepreneurs kind of like craziness and like being in the back foot and like kind of seek chaos, which is, what was it the other week when I got some spare time and I'm like, I've got a business idea, and you're like, I'll just leave.
Stop.
Because I'm like, I'm too comfortable for too many hours of the day right now. I need something because I kind of thrive in the chaos, right?
I think I said to you, please let's not do that right now. Please.
I mean, it's a great idea, but
So what would you say then? Let's say somebody's on their journey and an obstacle comes up, something happens. You can either be, how do you know when you're being persistent, or how do you know when it's actually just stubbornness and it is time to change? Because I think there is times where you do have to be persistent. I think there is times where you just have to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. But I do think sometimes there is scenarios where it is just you're being stubborn and that is not going to work and you are going to need to adapt a little bit. How do you know to identify, is this perseverance or is this being stubborn?
cost versus reward and probability of that happening. It has to statistically be in my favour of it actually happening. It has to be two things. I have to feel it in my gut, have to have that stupid belief, but then there has to be some logic to back it up. It's the same way people buy products, right? If you're in sales, you sell an emotion, but people justify things in logic. So I have to emotionally feel it in my gut, because if logic tells me it can work, but I don't feel it, it's probably not going to work anyway. And the same, I can have this stupid belief, but if logic tells me I'm going to fail, then it's just stupid. So I think it's not being scared to admit when you're going to fail. And it's like, I always talk about this, like if I know I'm going to crash a car, I'd be stupid to crash a car and not pivot and turn right. So when I know I'm fighting a losing battle, or the cost doesn't match the reward, or the probability is so far against me, and it's maybe I'll make it work, but it'll be so detrimental on the way there that it's not worth it anymore, then I've just got to.
I also think sometimes zooming out is the thing that could help as well, because I think sometimes we get so caught up and we have all these emotions attached to what we're doing, and we get so caught up in everything that's going on that we sometimes don't have the logical side active. So I think sometimes zooming out a little bit, or even asking somebody else from being a coach or whatever, just for their perspective, because they won't have the same emotions attached to what that scenario is. Because I think, as I was saying, there's no point beating a dead horse. I think sometimes we can't see that, though. We need other people to be able to point that out to us.
Yeah, I think you got to be able to. So when you're taking advice from people you got to get someone who's no emotional attachment.
Yeah.
So they're not biased, because if they're emotionally involved, sometimes they can be quite biased. If they're emotionally involved with you, like a friend, a loved one, and they just want you not to feel pain, so they might give you the advice that causes you the least pain rather than what's going to work. So I think that. And then when you talk to somebody who's not emotionally attached, then you've got to be able to defend it logically to that person. So if you are going to go to that person, you got to argue logic, and it's like going to court.
Yeah.
Like if I go to court and their logic makes it more logical than mine, then I know I'm probably fighting a losing battle. But again, that's why it's important to have coaches. That's why it's important to have people who have been where you're trying to go, right? Because they'll very quickly rip something apart and go, you're just being stubborn, right?
Yeah.
So entrepreneurs sometimes, a lot of the time, struggle with that, because they have this optimism, which is great, and they are really stubborn people, which is great. But I actually had a psychologist tell me this once, because we got in a bit of legal trouble and I wanted to fight and, and she's like, I wanted to fight. There was more or less a losing battle,
Yeah,
but I still wanted to fight. And she's like, why do you want to fight? And I'm like, because I want to make a point. She's like, but you probably lose. And I'm like, but that's not the point. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, why would I? She's like, you don't know when to walk away from a fight, do you? And I'm like, nah, it's not something I've ever.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes you get people that make good entrepreneurs are quite stubborn and stand their ground, but sometimes you got to reckon that. Again, that was a psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever, or head doctor, head coach I called it at the time, but she was just very logical. She's like, so probability you win, and I'm like, not very good. She's like, so why would you even get into the argument? Yeah. Like, you got to learn to walk away. Something like, it's, if there's a higher probability you losing and feeling pain when you lost, why would you get into the fight?
Yeah, that's dumb.
Just pivot, and we pivoted the whole company. We changed
a whole different industry. Yeah, literally.
And it killed my soul because I'm like the stubborn, persistent, and I was right. That person was wrong, but still, I was trying to fight with someone who was 10 times my size, and there was no point in even trying that. But stubborn me was like, let's get at him. Let's go fight. Stand your ground.
I'll take him.
Be a man. Don't back down. Don't let people bully you. And then a logical person's like, there's no way in hell you're going to win that fight. Yeah. Why would you do that? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have to take a breath and walk away and just live with the fact that it's not a fight that I should be fighting.
So there are times then when the warning signs are there and it's clear that it is time to adapt or change or pivot or whatever the word we're going to use is. But what do you think stops people, even when the warning signs are there, is clear? What is the thing that stops people from making the changes that I think subconsciously and deep down they know they need to make?
Yep.
But for some bizarre reason, they just don't do it.
Ego and fear. The fear of who's watching. Like me falling in the gym today.
I really wish I was watching that.
I wish I'd recorded it. I'm telling everybody I'd put it in Insta. I would actually have it on my socials going, this is how you fail miserably. Because I learned a long time ago that if I do things because I'm scared, or don't do things because I'm scared, I'm probably not going to do a lot. I'm not going to take risks. Your life's as big as the risks you take, right? So I've got to be fearless with that. But who cares what people think? Like, it's just people's ego of other people watching and how they'll be judged failing. One of the things I've learned my 46 years on the planet is everybody fails. Nobody's immune to not screwing up, right? I guarantee every single person that tried what I tried in the gym this morning has failed at one point or another. It's just normal. But most people won't. They'll say because they're stubborn, but really deep down, they're not stubborn. They're just, their ego doesn't want to get hurt because they think people are watching and will judge them for failing, especially getting entrepreneurship, because most people that are like, oh, that's risky. And so there are a small amount of people, right, that are against the norm and the masses. So I think your ego, and then the fear of being judged, and then the fear of change.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I'm like, if I had to go on an apprenticeship, let's just say all the businesses we have fail for whatever reason in the whole entire planet, I'd go get an apprenticeship as an electrician tomorrow. I go learn to pay. I have no fear of going away and completely pivoting who I am or what I do for work if I have to. So I think that holds people back, the fear. I was talking to someone the other week, and I will not say names, but they're like, oh, I'm too old to learn something new. And I'm like, that's a ridiculous comment. Actually, this is actually a good point. I don't think they'll see this, but if they did, they know exactly that I'm talking about them. But they're in a career and it's up and down like a yo-yo, and it causes them loads of frustration. And I'm like, change career. And he says, I'm too old to learn. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say. If you keep saying that, of course you're not going to learn anything. Yeah. I'm like, you're mid-40s. Like, what a stupid comment. But that's the fear of change. That's the fear of something different. That's no ego talking. That's not egotistical. That's just petrified to get in and be the new person again.
Yeah.
And know what you're doing. And that's actually stopping this person's life getting better. Because I'm like, why do you keep going this? Now I'm the voice of logic. I'm like, why would you keep doing something that causes you pain and doesn't give you, because it's not, you're not the problem. I'm like, the industry you're in's the problem. Yeah. Like, he's genuinely not the problem. But then that's when I realised he's scared of change. Where I think for an entrepreneur, I'm willing to go in and be stupid and be the new person again and know nothing about something and make a fool of myself and make mistakes. And so, yeah, I think ego and fear are what stop most people.
Yeah.
They'll tell you it's stubbornness, persistent and belief in the thing, but really deep down inside, that's the wee voice going, people are watching and, oh no, what if we stop this and we can't get good at anything else? That's, I think, the biggest.
Yeah, I definitely think emotions are probably the biggest driver in it, and emotions are normally going to be the biggest blocker in these things, because I also think a lot of the time, especially on entrepreneurs when they're on a journey or kind of building something or building a business or whatever, I think a lot of the time there's so much of their emotional identity attached to what they're doing that I think every decision they make 9 times out of 10 is an emotional one, when I think you do need to somewhat remove yourself from it, because I think emotions in those situations can be very damaging for what you're trying to do.
It's just business. It's just a way of making money, right? And I don't, you know, again, if I had to go relearn a whole new industry, let's say AI shuts down every industry we're in. What have I got to go? Oh, let's go learn some AI then. Let's go learn something completely. I don't. Would you say is embrace? Would I embrace it and be like, yeah, I'm so happy I'm learning something new? Probably not. But would I accept that that's just life? What am I going to do?
I feel like you've been through that a lot, and that, I mean, I always laugh at you. But it's like, it is true. I feel like you've really learned a whole new.
What we're talking about here.
In the last 2 years, I feel like you've completely almost learned a whole new industry, and sometimes you chuck out words or like anagrams, and what the hell are you talking about? Because you're like, okay, I do need to pivot for things from happening COVID. I'm not going to be caught out twice. You know, I am going to make sure that there is a backup plan to that backup plan.
It's layered 3 ways.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like I don't think you've like necessarily like enjoyed it. Like, it's not been necessarily like fun.
Wouldn't attach the word fun to
learning
it, no.
all this sort of stuff. But I feel like you're like, well, that's what I need to do to be able to be light on my feet and be able to make these changes that I need to make. So
yeah, and if I can just say something, if that's all right, if I can speak on my
James Watson
podcast.
podcast, if you could just not.
I says that there, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm being interviewed in the news here. No, that would be, but I'm like,
sorry, if I just
yeah,
put my 2 cents
sorry,
in?
can I say something on my own podcast? But I think it comes back to the ambition and the goals of the person.
Yeah.
Because my goal was never to be an entrepreneur or build a company. That or companies, or that, you know, it was never the goal. But that was not the goal. That was the action to the goal.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, it's so if your ambition is huge and it's personal, then it's easy to pivot. Because I was telling my 16-year-old daughter this yesterday morning, we're talking about work, and we were actually laughing in the room, and I'm like, you got to use all the energy. She's got ADHD like me, a little bit autistic like me, and we're very similar. She calls me her autistic twin, right? That's what she says, my wee autistic twin, when I'm around her, because we've both got our wee things, right?
2 peas in a pod.
And she says to me, but your autism's a little bit different. You like working. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, I don't like working. I like the lifestyle, all the things I do give me, and I like who I become because of the challenges I go through. I don't enjoy working. I'm like, if I put the Euro Millions on Friday and I won't go to work on Monday. I won't. I'll find other ways of getting those challenges. And I'm like, so don't mistake it. So again, I'm willing to pivot because I have a certain person I want to become, certain things I want to accomplish, and certain things I want to do in life, or certain lifestyle I want to have. I want to retire better than I lived. One of my goals is to, when I retire, my life gets better, not worse. And it doesn't get better because I don't have to work, but holidays get better, food gets better because I've worked so hard. Most people retire and their life gets worse, right? And takes a downgrade. But so again, my ambitions are big enough where I'm willing to change the action. It's like if I'm hell bent in getting a 6-pack and one diet's not working, I don't care how many different diets I have to go through to get it, because the end goal's the end goal. The action's irrelevant. But a lot of people that are in entrepreneurship don't have big enough goals. Their goal is that company, their goal is in that thing. So when that fails, they're stuck. And it's not big enough to make them. For me, I'll change 50 times if I have to.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't have to, but I'm willing to, because my goal's big enough, so it belittles the cost. So I'm like, all right, so I have to change, and I'm 3 years behind my goals. Big deal.
So what's the importance of consistency within yourself then, when everything else around you is changing?
Your consistency and your discipline and your habits and your routine will hold you together no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Like, all right, life's, all the people I coach I tell, because I get this question a lot, how do I get consistent results in business or in sales? And I'm like, you don't, they seem to do this, would you? I'm like, find me a football team that's scored the consistency amount of goals every single game. They don't.
Yeah.
A fighter, like, there's not, look, I showed them a stock market or crypto. I'm like, show me a straight line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some straight lines down the wave when you're looking at a certain time, right?
Not the line we want to see.
Rug pulls, right? But I'm like, life's inconsistent.
Yeah.
How you feel's inconsistent. The weather's inconsistent. Where the bloody moon is contributes to how you feel in the sun and the cold and the mood of the people and your environment and the traffic. And I'm like, the only thing that I can be consistent with is me. So as long as I'm consistent all the time with my habits, my routines, who I am as a person, my work ethic, my attitude, all that stuff, then my life will be as consistent as it bloody can be.
Yeah.
But it's still going to have wee squiggly lines. But the lines won't be big and small, and I won't feel like I'm a victim. I'll feel in control of stuff.
Yeah. Very true.
Smirk in your
I've
face
only
like you're
ever
thinking of a
seen you-
story.
I've only ever seen you inconsistent once, and it
Don't
would
tell
have been
anybody
like,
that I'm perfect.
No, it was like 5 years ago. It was pre-COVID, and something had happened, so you couldn't go to the gym in the morning, and you had to go to gym in the afternoon, and you were just on a different planet all day. Just you couldn't have a conversation. You were just like, but I think it's again like the consistency is really important, and as a we'll finish on this. We've been talking at the beginning about how we've had big changes in the last kind of couple of weeks, different to what we thought the start of this year would look like. And like our job roles and what we're doing at the minute is very different to what we kind of expected. But the conversations that we've had over the last couple of weeks of like, how are we going to make this work? What are we going to be doing? What does it look like day to day? The consistent things are, you've always said, well, as long as you've got your gym in the morning, as long as you've got the, the food that you need to be eating and all this, as long as these little things are consistent that you do in your routine to make you perform at your best, as long as they're not at jeopardy, like we'll figure it out.
No, I wouldn't put them at jeopardy.
Yeah. So we've designed the day to work around, doing all that sort of stuff to make sure that everyone's performing at their best and the best versions of themselves, to remain consistent with themselves so that in amongst all this change, we can manage with it better.
Yeah, of course. Because you got, again, we could get into a whole conversation about habits, routines, and who you identify as. And I identify as the person who goes to the gym in the morning. That's I also identify.
And falls on their face.
Sorry, and falls on their face. Yeah. And I think I scratched myself actually. I think I caught 2 scratches, and it's only just now I clicked because I looked in the mirror and I'm like, why have I got scratches on my nose? And then I'm like, I fell face first on a carpet in a gym this morning. Maybe it's scratched. Maybe who knows, on my nose. But I think it's important to go back to the pivot, but you made me think of something there. And who do you identify as an entrepreneur? Do you identify as somebody who just makes stuff happen, or do you identify as somebody who runs a store?
Yeah.
Because I think it's who you identify. So let's say you have to shut your store and pivot, but I'm a store owner. What do I do? I'm like, because you identify like that. So, but if you are an entrepreneur and you identify as an entrepreneur who's good at creating business, growing businesses, good with people, then you're not pigeonholing yourself into one specific thing. I think that also makes it easier to pivot things because you identify as the person who figures out how to make it work anyway. Like a Musk. I mean, I'm not comparing me at all, but that's just, he's just such a good example of someone who can he's just the guy that just seems to make things happen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is done. Episode 2020, episode 1 of 2026.
35 seconds left.
Well, let me finish. We could probably have done that bang on. But thank you for that. No, I think that was great. We were talking before we came in, we're going to make a point to be more consistent, I think, with these episodes, making sure we're getting some consistency with these
pun
episodes.
intended, everybody. Remember, like and share and follow and jump on Instagram at the _James_Watson and follow and like, and you'll get loads of wee tips.
Twice a day at the moment. You'll be lucky.
Oh yeah, we doubled our posting yesterday, right?
Yes.
Going for it.
Today's the first day of double
scheduled,
posting.
like ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
So you're
share,
in for a
follow,
treat.
and jump onto the other platform and do the same.
Yes. But thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you again
Ciao.
in the next episode. And Bert will be there too.